Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another night of the iRacing US Open Wheel doubleheader. Tonight, though, we're not in the US, still in America, going to be racing down in Brazil at Interlagos, a fantastic Grade 1 circuit, one of the best. And joining me tonight is going to be the one and only James Watson. Now, James, you have a lot more experience on this track than I do. What do you think about this great circuit down here in Brazil?
It's a tricky little circuit. Like, you look at it and it seems simple enough, but it's deceptively difficult. There's a lot of tough multi-apex corners here, really wide range of corner selection with a lot of high-speed sections. So, some consider it to be a roval since there is an oval around the outside. So, it is one of the iconic tracks in the world, though.
Yeah, this track back in the 70s, the series that today became the Stock Car Brazil series, used to actually run this track in not only an oval configuration, but in the original road course configuration, which is about 3 times the length. Still the same footprint of a racetrack, they just had a lot more roads going on through the center of it. Absolutely wild circuit. I'm glad they simplified it just a little bit. Qualifying getting underway. We're going to follow along with Carter Lundy in that number 1 machine for a little bit. He seems to be getting really good at this track, trying to find his rhythm. I heard him having some trouble with some of the braking zones. Mobin Khan, one of those drivers, they were talking about going incredibly fast here in the practice session, so hopefully we get to see him start up towards the front as well. Another big name we need to mention is going to be the number 19 of AJ Digby. Not sure I've ever seen AJ Digby run in one of these US Open Wheel races. We saw him run last night, finishing, I believe, second at Pocono last night, going to give the US Open Wheel cars a shot tonight.
Yeah, I remember going up against him in Estero way back when, so it's nice to see him around the NRN parts of the world again.
Well, he never left us on Wednesday night. Still religiously runs with Will Worcester Racing. Basically head strategist for those guys. Fantastic in the stock cars, and I've never seen him run an open wheel car, but hoping he does really well. He's a fantastic driver. Series regulars David Porcelli and Everett Paddock also out there. We're going to follow along with David Porcelli for a little bit. Nobody has a time on the board just yet. There we go. As Brian Labarge and Rod Eskew are the first guys to set a time. Brian Labarge still on the top spot. Nicholas Daly takes it from him. Mobin Khan up to the 3rd position with still 4.5 minutes remaining in qualifying. Everett Paddock goes new quick time with a 1:28.912. Jason Miller going even faster. Where did he come from in that number 12 machine? 1:28.883. Nicholas Daly up to 3rd. David Porcelli moving himself up to the 4th spot. Brian Labarge gets knocked down the 5th. Mobin Khan, I was just talking about how quick that guy was. He's down there in 6th. Same thing with Carter Lundy. He's down in 7th. Usually he's really naturally good at these circuits, and not here tonight so far.
Just crazy to see the pace of Miller. Like, last week and this week, like, he's really been on one. It's impressive to see him put up such pure raw pace. Like, being up front with the rest of the top guys in the series, even with it only being lap 1, is incredibly impressive.
Yeah, still another lap to go for these guys. There is still time for guys like Mike Holler, Mobin Khan, Carter Lundy to get up there, back to top spot, but that's kind of a heater that Jason Miller put down. I mean, ooh, Mobin Khan, just as I'm talking about it, goes up there, new quick time. Nicholas Daly faster now at a 128.615. Carter Lundy up to second with a 128.748. So, yeah, they put themselves right back where they belong. Everett Paddock up to second now. AJ Digby out there on his second lap. He's back towards the rear of the field, but I don't know if I've ever seen him run these before, so I don't know if he's got a feel for these cars just yet. He's not well off the pace, though. He's only 2 seconds off of the top time, and still faster than some of our regulars like João Rafael Silva Lopez or Robert Drew, guys who run this car week in, week out. He's right there, right behind Simon Fell and Lee Camargo, who, same thing, guys that run this car each and every week, so it's not like he's not performing tonight, just, well, now he's in the grass, spun around, but frankly, if this is his first effort in this car at this track, not bad at all.
No. Like I said, it's not a... It seems like it, but it's really not a super beginner-friendly track.
Only a minute and a half left in qualifying now. Carl Giangrande not setting a time in qualifying. He is in session, been running this car each and every week, so not sure if he's chosen to sit qualifying out. Maybe he doesn't have a handle on this track and is just going to start at the back of the grid and see what he can do.
Carl's going for the first challenge. You heard it here, folks.
It's bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see how it plays out for him. But João Rafael Lopez moves himself up to the 12th position, so getting his way back up towards the middle of this field. 20-car grid tonight, 21-car grid tonight, actually. So this race did not split. We're getting all of the PM18 drivers here in this one. So we ride on board with the number 9 of Aaron Law. One of the only cars still remaining on track. He has completed both his qualifying laps, but just going around and getting some extra time in. A little bit extra practice before we drop the green flag. And that's going to wrap up qualifications here for the U.S. Open Wheel C cars here at Interlagos. Just waiting for everyone to get on track, take the grid. Some beautiful shots of this track, and you can see just how much elevation change there is here as drivers are starting to get onto the grid. So on the pole will be Nicholas Daly in the number 4 car. To his outside, or I guess inside, will be the number 3 car of Everett Paddock. Row number 2 has Jason Miller and Carter Lundy. Row number 3 has David Porcelli and Mobin Khan. Next up is going to be Brian Labarge in the 7th position and Mike Holler starting 8th. 2 great times out of those guys. Coming back to the 9th position is Rod Eskew, the first car a second off of the leaders. Ivan Ubera-Mera in the 10th position in that number 6 machine. Not a guy we've seen run with us very often, but looking for great things out of that car. Starting 11th will be Carter Barassa, and 12th will be João Rafael Lopez. 13th will be Jason Paydu with Nagisa Yoshikawa starting side by side of that machine. 15th will be our friend Nick Camargo and Simon Fell. AJ Digby and Aaron Law starting on the 9th row. 10th row will have Levi Samoas and Robert Drew and Carl G starting all the way back there by his lonesome on the back of the grid. Hopefully he can get something done and make it up back towards the top of this field because he is usually a very fast, consistent driver.
He's going to pull off a heck of a run. You can do it, Carl.
These guys follow along behind the iRacing safety car. You can see just how small these cars are. Those Porsches are not very large cars at all, and it's absolutely massive compared to these little open wheel machines.
Yeah, it's like half its size.
I remember when I saw these things in person, it's like these are the same size as the midget cars, and those things, just by the name, you can tell they're not very big cars.
Right?
But as they're getting ready to go through the final corner, pace car is going to dive off to the left here, coming down pit road, and these guys are going to be ready to drop the hammer. 17 laps the distance of this race. Into the DRS zone for the F1 cars. There is the pit entrance. Pace car crossing over the dotted line. Makes the late dive, and Barney's got the green flag in his hand. And we are underway in the PM18s here at Interlagos. Nicholas Daly off to a fantastic start. Already gets single file in front of Everett Paddock. Jason Miller and Carter Lundy in tow in the turn one. Do we see contact? 3 wide from those in that second row. 2 wide now between Everett Paddock and Jason Miller. Carter Lundy riding along behind them. Waiting to see the sparks fly as we have carnage going on towards the rear of the field. That is going to be Mobin Khan absolutely sliding down the front stretch.
What in the world is going on?
I can't believe what I just witnessed. That was a Tony Hawk move right there. As the number 10 car, Michael Holler, comes out for an absolute tank slapper. Back up towards the front of the field, it's going to be David Percelli and Jason Miller now running side by side.
I'm glad we caught that on camera. What in the world is that?
That's Mobin Khan doing his best Tony Hawk impression, I'll tell you what. David Percelli makes the move on the inside of Jason Miller as he now tries to follow behind Everett Paddock. Catch back up to him and Carter Lundy. Some close battles going on for the 10th position right now. 10th car will be Rod Eskew in that number 7 Philadelphia Flyers machine. Jason Paydu only 0.6 of a second behind, and Simon Fell in tow of him. So we shoot back up towards the front. Nicholas Daly off to a huge jump on the rest of his field as he'll come to lead the first lap of this event. No contest for the first lap led. Carter Lundy up to the second position. He's going to have a little bit of work to do. That gap almost up to a full second into the braking zone of turn 1. It drops down to about half a second. Two cars out of this one already will be the number 11 of Mobin Khan, as we saw him do his best pro skater impression down the front straightaway. And Robert Drew, also unfortunately out of the event. Didn't catch what happened to him. So 2 casualties early on in this one.
Yeah, you feel bad for Mobin. Like, he had some crazy pace this week. It would have been interesting to see what he could have done with it, but yeah, he got something that's gonna be highlight reel worthy for a long time.
As Nicholas Daly has some pressure now from Carter Lundy, he's moved the gap back down to only 0.2 of a second. As we'll ride on board with Carter Lundy, see if he can get the move done anywhere. He's going to look to the outside of Nicholas Daly as he goes and sets the fastest lap of the race, trying to get the crossover. We've seen some great moves out of Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton here throughout the years. These are not quite F1 cars, though. No DRS to help him out. He's going to have to get in tow of Nicholas Daly and see if he can make the move in the turn number 5. Heavy braking zone into the left-hander. Daly slides up the track. Carter slides up the track. Another run into a hard braking zone. Not quite here, but coming up the hill, you kind of have to let off the power, just like Nicholas Daly did. Otherwise, you slide way up the track. Another great passing zone as Daly locks it up. Carter Lundy is going to try and get the jump. Clears him, and Carter Lundy is your new race leader. Working lap 3 out of 17 now. Fantastic dive for the lead from Carter Lundy. Just waiting for the door to open itself, keep the pressure on Daly, wait till he locks him up, and goes and gets him. Nicholas Daly going back for the pass on Lundy. Lundy's going to try and cross him over in the 1. Not able to make it work. But yes, he does. Both cars sliding in the 1. Carter Lundy comes out on top of that one, though. Gutsy move by Nicholas Daly. And that's allowed Everett Paddock to catch right back up to these guys. He's going to be in tow of Nicholas Daly. See if he can get something done on him. Daly obviously having some problems with those front tires. They seem to be a little bit overheated now.
Yeah, he's not able to get into the corners like he had been. Like, kind of uncharacteristic to see some of these lockups, but you know, you have to run another low-ish downforce set here, so that's something that's going to be a pretty significant struggle.
Everett Paddock now right on the gearbox of Nicholas Daly. This is where Carter Lundy was able to make the move before. Paddock not able to capitalize on a mistake by Daly. Daly not making a mistake for him to capitalize on. But these two are losing time now to Carter Lundy. Gap is now up to about 0.7 of a second between Lundy and Daly. Carter Lundy having a hit issue, though. Nicholas Daly going to sneak right by him, and 2-for-1 blue light special. Everett Paddock's going to try for it as well. Paddock with the new quickest time of the race with a 1:28.888. So I believe that's faster than our pole time tonight.
Gotta love the draft and tires that are properly up to temp.
Carter Lundy going to try and make another dive on Everett Paddock. Has to dump the brakes, trying not to hit him. That brings Paddock right back up. Excuse me, Nicholas Daly up there in the lead. As I see some lap traffic ahead, Carter Lundy going to make the dive, trying to make the move.
Whoa.
Almost contact with Daly. As I was saying, though, I see some lap traffic up ahead. Do you think that's going to be an issue for these guys?
Depends on where they get them. Sector 1, Sector 3? Not really. Sector 2, oh, you bet your bottom they will be. This is not an easy place to pass. Sector 2 is super narrow.
Carter Lundy now with the tow down the front straightaway. He's going to be side by side with Daly coming down the front stretch. Is he going to try and make a dive here? Not quite. Tries to cross him up. Daly taking a very defensive line, though. Lundy going to try and take the move up the inside here. Does he get it? Yes, he does. Carter Lundy is once again going to be a race leader here at Interlagos. Paddock going to try and make the move now. He's going to fight side by side, backs out of it. Does he try and cross him up? Nope, they're going to sit and stay put right there in second and third. Carter Lundy with a bit of a lockup now. Nicholas Daly trying to capitalize that time, not able to make it happen. And this allowed your 4th and 5th place cars of Jason Miller and David Porcelli to catch up to these guys. You can fit all 5 cars in one shot once again. Carter Lundy going to get eaten alive once again by Nicholas Daly with the huge toe, and Paddock's going to try and capitalize this time as well. Porcelli and Miller running side by side behind them. David Porcelli goes new quick time, and he's caught right back up to these guys along with Miller.
They keep battling like this. This is going to be a nice little 5-car battle.
God, I hope so. Carter fakes the move, doesn't get anything happening there, but Porcelli and Miller are still running side by side trying to swap position. I put the camera on them, they single file out, but that's okay. I'm waiting to see what kind of moves these guys do. But you have a move for the lead. Lundy to the outside. He's going to hold it and get the pass done on the outside. Maybe. Still there, still there. Lundy has the advantage, but Daly's going to come back. Lundy gets it in the left-hander, though. Almost contact between those cars. I believe there was contact. Carter Lundy not clear yet. Daly's going to fight back on the inside now. Lundy gives up the spot, goes for the crossover, not able to make it happen. Ten laps remain here in Brazil for the U.S. Open Wheel C cars. Don't forget, we also have U.S. Open Wheel D action tonight. USF2000s following at 10 o'clock Eastern on the same program. Same track, most of the same drivers, and a very similar car. It is a ton of fun. But right now, we have Carter Lundy going for another dive at the lead. Almost contact again, and there is contact. Fantastic save by Daly. Carter Lundy has to bring it all the way out to the wall. How are these guys still going so well? As Everett Paddock now says, I want a piece of this action. Looking to go 3 wide down the second straightaway. Lundy going to be side by side with Paddock now. Barely giving each other an inch. And Porcelli is right up there to put himself in that fight as well. He's got the best seat in the house right now.
He's just licking his chops. Look at that. He is back up there. Let's see what Miller can do too.
Yes, we're going to ride on board with David Porcelli. See exactly what he sees right now as he follows these guys having an absolutely intense battle. You can see these drivers are just using up every inch of racetrack now as they climb up the hill, down to the front straightaway. Once again, huge draft up here. As they cut down the pit entrance line. I believe that's a commitment cone violation, but this isn't NASCAR. Porcelli with a huge run on Lundy, backs out of it. Lundy not quite backing out of it as much. He sucks right back up to the rear bumper of Everett Paddock. Through the first set of S's now. It almost seems like Porcelli is running maybe less downforce or just struggling a little bit with those S's because he loses all of the time he gained back in that draft. But these guys are going to start fighting once again, and this allows Porcelli to catch right back up to him.
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily a bad decision. You know, there's a lot of high-speed sections on this track, like I said. But yeah, he's losing so much time in the middle that I don't know how much he's going to be able to take advantage of.
Paddock slides up at the end of the third straightaway. This allows Lundy to get side by side, and Porcelli A little bit of a tank slapper there, but he's going to follow right behind those two cars going side by side now. Almost contact between them again. You can barely fit a piece of paper between those two cars as they run like that. Going back, we'll stay on board with Porcelli for the remainder of this lap because these guys are doing a fantastic job of putting on a show right now.
Yeah, like, you love it when you have these huge multi-car scraps for the lead. Like, this is what sets this series apart.
And we'll wait. Porcelli's going to make the dive to the outside. They're going to run 3 wide in the turn number 1. Just in front of Daly is going to be some lap traffic. I believe that is the number 16 car of Nee Camargo. Oh, man, that was
my God.
Oh, that was too close for comfort. Carter Lundy going to move himself up to the second position, though, going to get around Everett Paddock. Porcelli's going to sneak his way on through now. Call Porcelli your new third-place car. Not quite yet. They're still side by side. 3 wide into the right-hander. Porcelli runs a bit wide. Paddock going to hold the inside here. Into the switchback, into the left. Porcelli's going to have the advantage, but a right-hander follows this one up. Contact between the two. Once again, some contact between those two cars. Are we playing race cars or bumper cars out here, boys?
Well, by the looks of it.
Yeah, Porcelli and Paddock have raced each other for years. They know how each other races, and they're not afraid to put a little bit of dents on these cars. Usually they keep it pretty clean, even if what you just saw might not look clean. That is just good, hard racing to those guys. They love it. Working lap number 11 now. Only 6 laps remaining here at Interlagos. Carter Lundy on the hunt once again, trying to get up to Nicholas Daly and see if he can make another stab at the lead. Carter Lundy is caught right back up to Daly now. Where is he going to make the move, or is he just going to sit back there and wait? Maybe play nice and try and put a gap on these guys in 3rd and 4th.
It's a possibility. Because if they do play nice, they might be able to just stretch the gap long enough, but it's going to be close.
Carter Lundy going to have the huge draft coming down the front stretch. Elects to take the outside as they run side by side now. Hits the brakes, goes, thinks about crossing him over. Doesn't attempt it, though. Carter Lundy with a new fastest lap, a 1:28.620, as these guys now have put over a second gap on the cars behind. Carter Lundy looks to the inside in turn number 5. Doesn't make anything happen, though. I wonder if he's just trying to get in the Nicholas Daly's head. See if he can force him into making a mistake once again. 5 laps remaining.
Cue the jostling. Dun.
Well,
I don't know if that quite works since he's not catching up to him, but
he took a
you all know what I mean.
Took a bite at the boat, but unfortunately missed at that one. Loses some of the gap, loses about a 1/10 there. Going to have to try and catch right back up to the gearbox of Nicholas Daly and see if he can make another stab at the lead. Carter Lundy having to slide the car around, chasing it up. He's going to lose a little bit of time the Daly here, but it's not going to matter as they come back up the hill. He's going to have a huge draft going into turn number 1. maybe not quite as much draft as I thought. David Porcelli goes new quick time, though, out of the 4th position. That's going to be a 1:28.568. These guys are well faster than your pole time now. Lundy is basically bump drafting Daly now down the 2nd straightaway.
They're trying.
Lundy makes a dive towards the inside, and he's going to get there. Side by side now, but he's going to have the disadvantage through the left-hander here. Can he cross Daly up? No, he can't. Has to back way out of it. But gets a huge run now into the 2nd set of right-handers. Carter Lundy trying his best at getting Daly, but not able to make anything happen just yet. As these top 5 still run the same way they were just a couple laps ago. Carter Lundy thinking about making another move now as they come into the 2nd straightaway. Does he just bump draft for Nicholas Daly? And ooh, maybe not. He's going to try and get to the outside here. If he can hold it on the outside, he'll have a huge run going on to straightaway, but he doesn't. Chooses to try and cross him up.
Whoa.
They almost make contact once again. This pulls Paddock right back up to these guys. Lundy able to keep the momentum on the high side. All he has to do is nail the braking zone. Not able to get it. Pushes way wide. He's going to be on the inside now. Almost contact again with Nicholas Daly, but he finally clears him. Maybe not quite yet. Daly is still there to the side. Tries for the crossover. Lundy able to get farther inside. They're going to run side by side now as they climb the hill. Everett Paddock going to be running side by side with Daly now. These guys running side by side is going to hurt their draft on Carter Lundy. Maybe not. Paddock able to get side by side with Lundy now. 2 wide, wow. 2 rows back, 3 wide now going into turn number 1.
Going to be 4 wide. Good God.
And just like that, Daly gets shuffled back to the 4th position, and now Jason Miller is looking to make a move on him. As Everett Paddock has to push the car up wide. Everett Paddock chooses to back out of it. Wisely or unwisely, we'll see what happens here. Even still, a 5th place finish in this 21-car field is not a bad night at all. Carter Lundy taking a defensive line, but Porcelli's going to try and capitalize. They're going to be side by side now. Porcelli trying to make the move on Lundy now. He's not only trying, he is succeeding before they even get to turn number 1.
Who said these cars don't have DRS?
David Porcelli going to take another huge defensive line. Blocks all the way down to that white line and almost into the grass. Daly going to try and cut the inside now. Lundy going to try and hold him off on the high side. Is it going to work out for him? keeps him in second and puts Daly back in the third position, but that's going to be tough. Only 2 laps remaining here. I wonder what happened to Everett Paddock. He's all the way back down to the 14th position, so I wonder if it was a hardware issue or an out-of-sim issue, but fortunately not even on the racetrack anymore, so.
That is depressing because
He was running so fantastically.
Seriously.
But Carter Lundy now all over every inch of that rear gearbox of the number 2 car of David Porcelli. Porcelli once again blocking all the way down to the inside. Looks like he's going to enter the pits, but he does not. He's just trying to fake him out, I guess. They run 3 wide across the start-finish line. White flag is out in the air. One more time around Interlagos. All 3 of them locking up the brakes. Contact between all of them. They keep going, though. Side by side now for the lead. Lundy's on the outside. Porcelli's on the inside.
Miller and Daly got super close in the background.
To Carter Lundy. Seems like he's easily got it done here, but just remember, there's that huge straightaway, and Porcelli was able to get the move done before the start-finish line before, so let's see if he can do it again from back here. Coming up the hill one last time, Porcelli's going to have to be in the draft for every second here. Doesn't seem like he's going to have anything for the number 1 car of Carter Lundy, and Lundy's showing us why he wears the number 1. Carter Lundy's going to be your winner here at Interlagos. David Porcelli going to come home second. Jason Miller in third. And Nicholas Daly coming home in the 4th position.
What a race.
Mike Holler going to be in the 5th position. Brian Labarge coming home 6th. Ivan Mara coming home in the 7th position. Still on track. I don't want to call these guys too early. They're all across the line. Nagisha Yoshikawa coming home in the 8th position. Rod SQ out there in the 9th position. AJ Digby going to be in the 10th position. That's going to round out your top 10 for these guys. Just checking our comments now. AJ Digby checking in the comments, saying he's just running on the default iRacing setup. Has only about 10 laps in the car, but nice to be back in an open wheel car once again. Well, to plug our other man in the booth, AJ, we got a guy who makes some of the setups for these cars. TeamWatsonRacingSetups.com. We'll give him a quick plug. Go check him out. Great community, great setups.
Yes, sir. Our top 2 finishers were running those sets tonight, too.
So it's going to be Lundy, Porcelli, and Miller on your podium. Nicholas Daly finishing 4th, Holler 5th, Brian Labarge 6th, Ivan Mara 7th, Nagisha Yoshikawa 8th, AJ Digby 9th, and Rod SQ in the 10th position. 11th will be Carter Barassa. 12th, João Silva Lopez. 13th will be Carl Giangrande. 14th, Simon Fell. 15th, Aaron Law. 16th, Nick Camargo. 17th, Robert Drew. Everett Paddock coming home in the 18th position. Jason Padu and Levi Samoa's finishing 20th. And unfortunately, all the way at the back of the grid will be that number 21 car that pro skated down the front stretch on lap number 2, coming home in the 21st position. At least you maybe made the iRacing not top 10. So we try and find some of our podium drivers to pull up for an interview. The only driver I see so far is your race winner, Carter Lundy. So why don't we bring up Carter Lundy into the booth? And Carter, that was an absolutely fantastic race. It seemed like you guys were swapping for the lead each and every lap. Not the greatest qualifying effort from you tonight, but it still managed
Whoa!
to put it on the top spot.
Just because it's not full, it's bad.
For Carter Lundy, it is.
All right. Yeah, the qualifying was pretty close all around. We had, 6 people within 2 tenths exactly, pretty much. So into the race, I knew it was going to be pretty tight, but we had a couple of separations in the group. We got a little bit split up until the end, and unfortunately, when we all got into one pack, there was just a little bit of chaos. I think David hit Everett got a meatball, and got a little bit chaotic at the end. But yeah, it was a fun race, some good battling, and especially on the last lap, it was pretty close.
Oh man, we didn't realize Everett got a meatball. I couldn't see any damage on that car. It didn't look like a hard hit at all, but I guess it just broke the
That's
suspension enough
iRacing,
that it broke it. So
Yep.
anyway, will we be seeing you for the USF2000 race here in a couple minutes?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Gotta get some laps in because this ends so much later now.
Oh yeah. Well, why don't we get some sponsor plugs and thank yous, and then hopefully we're talking to you in a little bit.
Yep. Thanks to you guys for the broadcast, doing it without Chris. Thanks for doing a great job. I'm sure I'm gonna watch that one back later. So thank you guys, and thanks to Nagise and Team Watson Racing for the Indy Pro setups.
Cheers. Hopefully we're talking to you again soon. Coming up next is going to be second place finisher David Porcelli. David, you seem to be sitting back there in that fourth, fifth spot up until those top three started battling, and once you were in the fight, you were there at the top spot for a lot of it, fighting with Carter Lundy. What did you think of this absolute madhouse of a race tonight?
Just so thrilled to be back. That was a very warm welcome from the boys. So just really excited to be racing every Thursday night. I had a great tour, driving a tour bus for that band, and that was fun. So now I'm back here, ready to try and reclaim my championship. It's going to take some work because I don't think I have too many drops to sacrifice. But as far as the race goes, there's only one lap that matters. So, why waste my energy?
Now, did you say driving a tour bus for a band? Are you saying you were a professional groupie? Because that's awesome, dude.
That I was. Yeah, I drove a tour bus from, let's see, the East Coast of the United States all the way down to San Diego and then all the way back. And that's where I've been for the past 3 weeks.
Hell yeah, man. Living the dream, not out here on the iRacing circuits, going out, touring the country, and now you're back here with a bang, a second place finish. So, why don't we get all our sponsor plugs and thank yous in so we can get Jason Miller in the booth and get ready for the USF2000 race?
Absolutely. Thanks so much, man. Shout out to Racecraft One Indianapolis, Team Watson Racing, Satellite Racing. Hi to the family. Thanks so much, National Racing Network, for an awesome broadcast every week. I'm back and hope to see you in an hour. Peace.
Hell yeah. Hopefully we're talking to you again real soon. And last, but certainly not least, is going to be Jason Miller. Dude, you were in the fight pretty much the whole time tonight, sitting back there again, playing with David Porcelli in that fourth, fifth position, swapping back and forth, and all of a sudden it seemed like you guys just exploded and were up there.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how to explain it. I'm not used to running up by those guys, so for the most part, I had a lot more downforce than them, and could catch up a lot in the second sector, and as long as I could stay in the draft, I was relatively close and was just waiting for somebody to make a mistake, and got lucky on a couple of them.
Hell yeah. So it seems like you hit the setup right where it needed to be tonight. Got yourself on the podium. Good points tonight throughout.
Yeah, I can't say I hit the setup. I just used the one iRacing gave me, which probably maybe shouldn't advertise, but yeah, I don't usually mess around with the setup too much. I'm not sure what I'm doing there. So, but yeah, I made up for last night. I ran a couple of races last night, and they went pretty rough. So definitely a change of direction there.
Well, hell yeah. Glad you came out for this one. We'll be seeing you again in the USF2000 race.
Yep, I'll be there.
Awesome. hopefully we're speaking to you again too on the podium. Why don't you give us all your sponsor plugs and thank yous?
Well, thanks to you guys for the awesome broadcast every week. Always watch it back, and this week it'll be a little more fun than usual. Otherwise, yeah, just thanks for everyone coming out and watching.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you very much. Hopefully we're talking to you again soon.
Thanks, guys.
James, I don't think I've ever seen a race in these cars go quite like that. We've seen some fantastic races at plenty of the other tracks, Alton Park, the ovals for sure, even Suzuka. But 17 laps of nothing but side by side swaps for the lead. I think this was a first.
Yeah, at a track where it's not easy to do. That's the thing. It's not like Spa or Monza or some of the other tracks we have on the schedule where you can do a lot of that really easily. It's difficult to try to do this here.
Yeah, this has really put Interlagos on the map for me, at least, for tracks that are just fantastic for racing. I guess any of the grade 1 circuits are when you get them on these small cars. They're terrible F1 tracks, but great little car tracks. Anyway, we're going to go cold for just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the USF2000 cars. A little bit less horsepower out of those things, some less downforce, fixed setups most importantly. So we're about to see an even tighter race than we just saw with these PM18 cars. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right here on the National Racing Network. Welcome back to the iRacing US Open Wheel doubleheader, where we now have the USF2000 cars here in Interlagos. These things, like I said before, a little bit less powerful, but put on one hell of a show. Our driver there in the number 4 car using the same helmet I do, Mr. Meeseeks. Love that helmet. It's always funny to look at as he's now spinning around. But Mr. Meeseeks is smiling right back at you. That's going to be
the pain, Jerry.
it's going to be the number 4 car of Declan Webb. So we are right now just in practice. It's going to be the number 8 of Michael Holler, screwing around a little bit, having a little bit of fun, sliding around. As that's going to be it for our practice session. Just waiting for the drivers to get on the track for qualifying. So we follow along with David Porcelli. He's getting ready to leave the pit lane. 7.5 minutes here in qualifying. Now, James, you drive these cars far more often than I do. From a driver's standpoint, what is the biggest difference between the PM18 cars and the USF2000 cars?
The open differential makes it a lot more finicky and unpredictable on corner entry. So you have to put like just a little bit of maintenance throttle in when you're entering the corner. Otherwise, it will spin on you. It gets a little better as the tires warm up, but those first few laps are always sketchy. Case in point.
Yeah, these things seem like they are an absolute handful to drive around. Once again, absolutely wheeling that car around. Looks like they've got a bit of a loose setup here tonight for the USF2000 cars. So we'll look along with the number 3 car of Nicholas Daly now.
Yeah, I think we might be might get a Brian Labarge in the booth.
Why don't we drag him on up here? Maybe? Five and a half minutes remaining in qualifying. Nobody's setting a timed lap just yet. All of the drivers on their first time lap right now. Carter Lundy notably not on track yet. Wonder if he's going to try that last to first challenge, or maybe he only wants to get one lap in, or I don't know what he's doing. As Nicholas Daly approaching the start-finish line now, I believe he's going to be the first car to take time. And he is with a 1:35.234. Let's see where the rest of the field kind of drops in here. Thomas McLeod up to the top spot now with a 1:34.820. Declan Webb up to the second spot with a 1:35.072, quarter of a second slower. Jason Miller up to the third position with a 1:35.101. David Borcelli putting himself in 5th. Mike Holler down the 6th so far. Rod Askew falling in the 7th position. Still 4 minutes remaining in qualifying. Plenty of time to get another lap on the board. Kenji Yamamoto completing his first lap with a 1x. Not able to set a time on that one, but still plenty of time in lap number 2 to get a time on the board. Mackenzie Ruin in the pit box, completing both of their laps, not getting one on the board. This is a hard track to qualify at, especially with how difficult these cars are to drive. Nick Camargo out there in the NRN Team Watson Racing setup schemes. It says green car watch out on the side. I absolutely love that. Green cars are unlucky in racing. I don't run them, but props to you, Naiji, for going out there and running that green car. I wish you luck tonight.
He'll be fine.
Nicholas Daly with a new quick lap. He's going to put himself right back on the top spot with a 1:34.818. 0.02 of a second faster than Tom McLeod's first lap. McLeod coming off of the racetrack now, so not going to complete his second lap. Declan Webb remains in the third spot after completing his second lap. Same thing with Jason Miller. He's going to be in fourth. Porcelli not quite finished with his second lap, but pulls it back into the pits, so probably an issue for him. Walter Jacopuzzi moving into the 7th position. Rod Eskew bumps up to the 6th position. Fantastic old Valvoline Cosworth Champ Car scheme on that car. I believe that's an old Rahal scheme, isn't it?
I think so, but man, I
No,
cannot
that
remember for. Yeah, I don't think
that's an early
2000
2000 scheme.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I've never seen Bobby run the Valvoline colors.
That's right. He ran the Miller car. Who ran the Valvoline colors? Anyway, Kenji Yamamoto setting a time for his second lap. That's going to put him up to the 8th position with a 1:36.160. Kobe Larson out there, not able to get a time on the board after completing both of his laps. And Carter Lundy still not out there, hasn't even touched the racetrack yet, so he is going to start last in this one, if he chooses to take the grid. Nicholas Daly still out there, just turning laps for fun at this point. With a minute 15 remaining in qualifying, nobody out there able to take another lap, so it's kind of a game of hurry up and wait now.
And here we have the one, the only Brian Labarge. Maybe.
Possibly. "30 seconds remain in qualifying before we get this race underway. Kind of surprising that Carter Lundy has not taken a lap. I would expect him to want to start towards the front of this one.
It's not that big of a grid, so, and like, we've seen him come from a lot deeper in the field to win at a track that's a lot harder to pass at, so I don't think he's really worried about it.
So starting on your pole is going to be the number 3 car of Nicholas Daly. Starting side by side with him will be the number 6 of Thomas McLeod. Starting third is going to be the 4 car of Declan Webb with Jason Miller next to him in the number 9 car. David Porcelli starting on the inside of row number 3 with Rod Eskew to his outside. Up next in row number 4 will be Walter Jacopuzzi and Kenji Yamamoto. Behind them will be Mike Holler and Carter Lundy. Carter Lundy surprisingly not starting at the back, but he is the 1 car, so I guess top of the cars to not take time. Mackenzie Ruin and Nick Camargo starting 11th and 12th. finally, all the way on the back of the grid by his lonesome is going to be number 13 of Kobe Larson. So just waiting for everyone to get onto the racing circuit.
Brian, do you have a copy of with us now? Fortunately, I guess his mic is still muted.
There we go. Here I am, everybody.
Yay!
There we
Welcome
go.
to the show.
Having some issues with our graphics software.
Thank you.
Never a dull moment here on the National Racing Network.
Nope, there isn't.
Graphics
Best
software
for all our viewers.
deciding it doesn't want to run anymore. So we will get that booted back up for all of you. So as they make the trek up the hill, waiting for the pace car to take that huge dive down on the pit road, and Nicholas Daly is going to bring your field to the green flag into turn number 1. Daly able to get off to a huge start in the PM18 race, seeing if he could repeat the feat here in the USF2000s.
Definitely a lot of pace there.
Barney has the green flag in his hand, and once again, Nicholas Daly out to a huge lead over these guys as they take the green flag. Thomas McLeod going to try and take a peek up the inside, though. Not able to get anything done as Nicholas Daly gets out to a fairly decent lead now. David Porcelli and Jason Miller once again fighting side by side, coming through the first set of corners. Miller going to be looking towards the inside here. Safe to get Yamamoto on SQ. Not able to make anything happen, though. They stay single file all the way through. As we have a side-by-side battle for the lead. Thomas McLeod going to try and get the jump on Nicholas Daly.
Whoa.
Still side by side. I haven't seen Thomas McLeod race ever. And Daly has the car all sorts of sideways, sliding it around. That allows Declan Webb to catch right back up to the gearbox. Only 9 laps the distance here in the USF2000 car, so not a lot of time, not a lot of chances to get anything done.
Best chance is going to be up here in turn 1 if they can get a good enough run.
Yeah, you have the entire uphill here, flat out in the draft. You can see just how quickly Daly is closing up on McLeod. He might be able to get the move done before they even get to turn 1. McLeod goes to defend the inside, though. They're going to be side by side. McLeod still with the advantage.
Whoa.
Can you get him on the cutback?
Ooh.
Not quite.
Yeah, McLeod getting the car a little bit hairy. Through those S's, the USF2000 car is very, very difficult to drive. It kind of wants to just get out from underneath you through the S's.
Man, I tell you, it doesn't matter what car. I always hold my breath whenever I see side-by-side through the Senna S. It's just such a difficult car to be 2x2. Hardest corner to do that by far on the entire circuit.
Yep. And if you have your car even placed just even in the slightest bit of the wrong spot, not only are you compromising your corner, but you're also compromising the entire straight, especially with this car because you have to keep up so much momentum with it.
Thomas McLeod still all over that rear gearbox of Nicholas Daly. This time it's going to be McLeod following Daly through the uphill. He's a little bit closer than Daly was, so they might be able to get clear of him before they get to turn 1 this time. As McLeod has to chase the car up, goes all the way almost into the grass.
Thank God for that extra bit of runoff right there.
Mm. If that car was any lower to the ground, he would have lost a lot of time bottoming out on that one.
I think we need to move the commitment cone way up to that white line on pit entry. It seems like these guys are going to enter the pits or something, and then they pull away from it, getting awfully close to that tire attenuator. But Nicholas Daly going new quick time, so he's going to start running away from these guys.
Using
Yeah,
all of the track.
Yeah, he's right on the cusp. Thomas is going to need a heck of a sector 2, otherwise that might be all she wrote.
Yeah, already a third of the way done with this race, so if you want to get something done, you really have to close that gap now and full send it.
Still a good battle between these top 5, though. They've pretty much gapped all the way back to 6th by a couple seconds.
Yeah, once again, Jason Miller keeping right up there, hanging out with the big boys.
Oh, and Nicholas Daly spins it from the
Oh my
lead.
goodness. Wow.
And because of that, now there's going to be a nice battle for first because Porcelli's going to get the free benefit of second place checking up as much as he had to.
Yep, Porcelli's going to run side by side with him now in the run down the turn number 1. Declan Webb out of the 3rd spot now, going new quick time. That is going to be a 1:34.983. So still some decently quick lap times out of these cars, even with 100 less horsepower. Declan Webb all over the rear gearbox of David Porcelli. He looks inside, he looks outside. Now he looks up the middle of these two running side by side.
Wise to back out of it there. This is going to be interesting. That's an excellent example of taking 4 entirely different lines to that corner and all of them work.
That is the great thing about the low power cars. As long as you keep your momentum up, it doesn't matter what line you take. Declan Webb
going to get the pass done.
Maybe not quite. And Declan Webb is starting to bounce in and out of connection, so having a little bit of trouble with that sim rig. It's very, very difficult to race a car that's kind of blinking in and out. You saw Jason Miller kind of back out of it just a little bit, put some distance between him and Declan Webb, just because he didn't know where he was going to reappear. Thomas McLeod getting into the inside wall, trying to open that door, and he stuck his foot in there and kicked it open. It's going to get him the lead here through the switchbacks.
Even with that tire lock up too.
Yeah, that was impressive. That was gutsy, if anything.
He basically went the entire width of the track right at the start-finish line.
But he's going to run wide here. That's going to allow Porcelli to get the inside, but it gives him the outside going into what I believe is turn number 7 or 8.
6, I believe.
No, I've been counting him wrong this whole race then.
Yeah, Curva del Sol, which is the turn at the end of the back straight there, I believe is turn 4.
Do they count the Senna S as only one corner? I guess there's only one Marshall post.
See, Chris Graham's not even here tonight, and we're still talking about Marshall posts.
as Thomas McLeod trying to put a gap on David Porcelli, but just not able to get it done, especially now as they come back up the uphill, only 0.3 separating those cars. He's going to be caught right back up by the time they hit the front stretch.
Walter Jacopuzzi is starting to catch these guys up a little bit.
Yeah, he is not that far behind.
Nope.
Walter Jacopuzzi in the 5th position, only a second behind Jason Miller, and that's basically in drafting range here as he drops that gap down even further, but there's tire smoke up ahead. David Porcelli and Thomas McLeod locking up the tires. Nicholas Daly from the 9th position goes new quick time once again with the 134.965. So Daly is a man on a mission. Not sure if he can get the win here tonight, but maybe a top 5 is still in the cards for him.
Well,
especially if these guys make contact.
I was about ready to say the exact same thing. You don't want to see them wadded up here in the corner here, but...
If your name is Nicholas Daly, absolutely you do.
Yeah, Nick wants chaos. Mass chaos. That's what he's rooting for at this point.
Working a very nice lap 6 out of 9 here tonight at Interlagos.
A little bit of a wobble there from Porcelli on corner exit. Yet another drag race up to turn 1. Spots 2, 3, and 4 probably want to start working together a little bit here so they don't lose too much gap. And as I say
don't
that,
think they're working
start
together. 3 wide once again in the turn number 1. A little bit of a lockup out of Declan Webb. Trying to get the undercut on Porcelli, not able to make that work.
But, you know, they battled into turn 1, and as a result, they have now lost the draft. So I think, you know, so long as Thomas doesn't make any mistakes, it's really a battle for second at this point. I don't see any one of these 4 drivers being able to make it up that distance from this far back if they're also battling each other.
Gotta remember all the lockups that McLeod has had, though. It's not out of the question for him to have a just minor mistake that loses him a second.
Yeah, so even right there, like, you know, those 3 cars are now all bunched up just because Webb took the inside line and had to check up to avoid running into the back of Porcelli.
Yeah, they're down to a gap of almost 2 seconds now. So it really is Thomas McLeod's race to lose at this point. But these guys going to try and run side by side once again. Thomas McLeod goes new quick time with no help of the draft.
They bumped wheels in the straight.
They did it again in the corner.
Right there.
And once again.
Yep. And here comes Jason Miller.
Bobbing and weaving his way up through the field. He's up to 3rd now.
Some opportunistic driving from him right there. Webb's coming right back at him.
And Walter Jacopuzzi is there. Oh, man, and there's contact between Miller and Webb. Number 10 car of Jacopuzzi is going to be there. Oh, man, and there's contact. Miller's around. More cars are around.
And Webb has just been disqualified. Too many incident points.
That's right. The 4 car was just disqualified. The 5 car of Kenji Yamamoto was another car that was around. Same thing with Jason Miller. Those cars are way back in the field now. David Porcelli up to second. No heat from in front or behind. Jacopuzzi there in third. Same thing. No heat front or behind. Rod Eskew and Nicholas Daly is now your closest fight on track for the fourth position. As we are working.
Daly's going to line this corner up. He's going to take fourth probably on this one.
Yeah, I told you fifth wasn't out of the question. Now he's going to be looking at fourth and frankly might be close enough to get third. But we are on the last lap of this one. We check back in with your race leader. Can't even see another car in the frame. It's going to be Thomas McLeod. One final time through the second set of S's. Really, what a fantastic job he has done. I don't think we've ever said his name before here on the National Racing Network. And here he is leading the most laps here in this USF2000 race and just going out there and, frankly, kicking ass.
Yep, he made no mistakes when everyone else seemed to be making quite a bit of them. Or at least, he kept his nose clean through all the battles through the infield section. I don't think he put a single foot wrong in turn one, so well deserved.
Yep, and he's going to cross the line in the top spot. Thomas McLeod is going to be your winner. And he sets fast lap. David Porcelli going to come home second. Jacopuzzi third. Fourth position, give it to Nicholas Daly. Fifth to Rod Eskew. Sixth, Michael Haller. Seventh is going to go to Jason Miller. Kenji Yamamoto running across the line in eighth. Kobe Larson right behind in ninth. And top 10 is going to be Nick Camargo. Declan Webb getting disqualified. He's going to come home in the 11th position, and then sharing 13th or a did not start is going to be the 11 of Mackenzie Roon and the number 1 car of Carter Lundy. So Carter Lundy donating quite a bit of iRating here tonight, and he didn't even take the grid.
Must have been enjoying a steak dinner.
So that is going to be your top 10 and all of our cars that finished the race tonight. Seeing if we have anyone up and ready for the interviews.
Looking for David.
Yeah, looks like David's going to be the only one we know here in the TNT server. And here we go. We've got him. David Porcelli, we're talking to you once again. To go on.
Oh man, what a race! Holy smokes, that was exciting. I'm focusing on regaining my position in the championship since we talked about this last race. I used a lot of drops while I was away. So once I saw that Carter didn't qualify and then Nick had his spin, it was just a matter of finishing so that I could secure some points on them.
Yeah, and did a fantastic job of that, coming home second. I believe it was a 3,700 strength of field, so definitely going to be a great points night. Nick Daly, not picking up as many points on him as you might have thought when you saw him spun around, but he clawed his way back up pretty good as well.
Yeah, but with how cutthroat our championships have been in the past couple of seasons, anything but a podium ends up usually being a drop because the guys around us are so consistent. We usually have 8 podiums. So if Nick finished in 5th, that's great, but there's a good chance it might end up being a drop week for him.
Oh man, I did not realize it was that tight in the championship battle, but why don't we give you one more chance? Give us all your sponsor plugs and thank yous. Remind the viewers who they are.
Absolutely. Huge shout out to Racecraft 1 Indianapolis. Big thanks to Team Watson Racing. I'm back, guys. Shout out to Satellite Racing. Hi to the family. And thanks to National Racing Network for an awesome broadcast every week. Hope to see you guys in the booth next week. Thanks so much.
Hell yeah. Thank you very much for coming out.
Peace.
So we'll start with the new guy in the booth. Brian, what did you think of that
Yes.
USF race? And you were also one of our drivers in the PM18 race, man. Give us some of your thoughts on that one as well.
All right. Well, I mean, talk about the Class D race that we just ran here, and that was a very impressive display for 7.5 laps of good, solid wheel-to-wheel racing that we come to expect from a lot of the top guys here. It's especially at a place, a track like this where it is, a wide track for everybody, where you can put the cars there, you can get a couple of different interesting lines through it. That I think the drivers definitely took full advantage of that while still maintaining a pretty rapid pace. So very entertaining, and with the exception of a couple of I don't know if there were moments of over-aggression, or if this was just simply a lot of netcode just because they're driving in such close quarters, that it's kind of a shame that we didn't get those same kind of battles for the last 2 laps or so. But yeah, it's a good track to watch a lot of these good battles there. So everyone, hats off to to the podium guys for surviving through all of that.
Yeah, that's the big thing a lot of times in these D-class races is, hey, you got to be the fastest guy to win them. But the podium, sometimes all you got to do is survive. And if you can be consistent and do it, that's all you need to do. Watson, what about you? Give us some thoughts on what you just saw, because that was 2 fantastic races here tonight.
Yeah, like we saw a whole lot of multi-car craziness. Like they went 3 wide in places where I thought it was almost too difficult to go side by side. So we saw so much skill be put on full display tonight, and it was just a blast to watch. Like from green to checkered, it was just incredible.
Well, hopefully all of you, the viewers, really enjoyed this show. This was a fantastic one to call. Thanks again to Chris Graham for throwing me the keys and letting me drive this beast. Thank you to James Watson and Brian Labarge stopping in the booth here tonight, giving you guys someone else to listen to other than me. And thank you to all of the viewers for tuning in each and every week and making these shows possible. So, my name has been Patrick
Appreciate
Byrne. It's been James Watson and Brian Labarge here in the booth with me tonight, and we will catch you all next week for Silver Crowns on Monday night. Thank you very much. Have a fantastic night.